I'm going to put something here on the camera for you to look at. Okay? Now, when you see this footage, I need you to walk me through why you're doing what you do. When I saw you put up this, all I could think to myself was, excuse me, sir, this is my line of work. What is ALAN SANCHEZ doing here and hitting a Boston Crab, which needs a little bit of work, if we're being honest here. So, Alan, explain yourself, sir. Why exactly are you getting into my world of WWE BJJ, sir?
I mean, I just think that's an efficient way to escape close guard. So, I was just trying to help people out with their technique and give them options.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope that you were having a good day. You should look at this guy. This guy's about to be on the show. He's not going anywhere. We got him for approximately 45 to an hour. But what I got to tell you is this. Super stoked to talk with him. But before we get back to him, a couple quick reminders. First and foremost, if you like this show, and I hope that you do, I ask that you go on over to patreon.com/grappling hour, where you can pay $5 and see our interviews 30 days before anybody else. So what do you get for that? Not only do you get to see those interviews, you get some special bonus content that we occasionally put up, but we also have a, extra few dollars if you want to pay for the premium version of our show. And we put up content that you won't see anywhere else, including tape studies, match breakdowns with the athletes themselves, and a personal favorite, roast draft, where people roast my competition footage. And for whatever reason, that is our most popular segment. So I don't know why. Nonetheless, you can check that out, patreon.com/grappling hour. Also, you can get yourself some Grappling Hour merch if you go on over to rafesparza.com/merch. Get yourself a Grappling Hour hoodie or a t-shirt. It is that time of the year. It is very cold. So if you get those things, you feel a little bit warmer, not just physically, but on the inside of your heart, knowing that you support your good friend, Rafa Esparza. You can also like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're watching this. I hope it's on YouTube. If it's not on YouTube, it's probably on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're there, be sure to become a subscriber or a follower and rate and review where you can, because there'll be some assholes in this world. And sometimes they give a downvote, and that really isn't nice. Most of the times, everybody's very nice and gives upvotes. Upvotes get more views, which I'm assuming you'd want Alan to get, because you came here wanting to see him. So really, a downvote for the show is a downvote for Alan. And that's not nice. So last and not least, if you want to continue the conversations that we have here on the show, you can easily go to our Grappling Hour Discord. All right, ladies and gents. What can I say about this young man other than the fact that he repeated the success he had in his brain? He visualized this once. I guess the question is, ALAN SANCHEZ, did you visualize winning EBI twice? And welcome back to the show, good sir.
Thank you. I guess I visualized myself winning it 5 times, but you got to win it twice to get to 5, right? So little by little.
It's so funny to me because I saw a video where it kind of expanded upon what you told us the last time, where you were describing how you were sketching it out in your notebooks and you were writing it out. And then we actually saw, was it cartoons or some kind of artist rendering of you winning it and visualized in that way? Was that what I saw in that video?
No, so there was at the end of it, there was like a painting that one of my students like commissioned it for me, and actually like it was painted by another one of the students. It was like, one of the pictures from me winning EBI last time. So, they painted that for me at the end there. I don't really like drawing myself, actually. Like I prefer not to, but I love drawing other people that inspire me, and I like drawing like adding little quotes next to them. So yeah, I'm usually not drawing myself.
Well, listen, dude, I wouldn't either if I was very gifted at that sort of a thing. But at the same point, that visual looked really cool, and I didn't know where it came from. And I've seen you draw, and I've seen it's pretty good. But to me, when I saw the juxtaposition of that artwork and you, it's so wild how that came from your journal. What did it feel like to see that piece? Because it was very well crafted in the way that it was put together.
Um, right. Like asking like that clip that Omar made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I sometimes have like a tough time like watching things like about me, but I felt like that one was like put together super nicely, and yeah, I had the like a bunch of little like drawings and some notes from my sketchbooks and stuff, and then cool little audio, and yeah, that was made by the homie Omar. I think his Instagram handle is like OJO photos underscore. And yeah, he's been killing it with like the all the pictures and the videography, and so yeah, I was stoked on that one.
I mean, you should be, because it caught my attention, and it was right as I was getting into the swing of getting prepped for all the combat jiu-jitsu and the jiu-jitsu overdose, which we'll get to in a second. But I did want to pass my congratulations to not only you, but to him, because when I saw that work, it's like the manifestation of one sparked idea that you had years ago that happened. And then the question becomes, can it happen again? And, obviously, you had to be a favorite coming into this, but they definitely were not short on competitors. I thought that was an incredibly stacked EBI bracket. So when you were coming back into this one, was there a nervousness? Is it going to be hard to replicate that success, especially given some of the heavy hitters that were in that bracket?
Yeah, absolutely. So I felt I like was coming in as like the returning champ, but I definitely felt like still like a dark horse,
Mm.
and honestly, like I guess like EBI wise, I was still the defending champion, but last year did Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds and I lost in the final, so I feel like I didn't really feel like I was just necessarily the champ per se. So I came in with like a bit of a chip on the shoulder, I guess, and I knew that the division was stacked, and so I felt like people weren't like, of course, the people around me would like pick me, but I felt like overall jiu-jitsu wise, like people weren't necessarily thinking of me as someone that was going to win this tournament. But since I'd done it before, I I knew that I could, and I knew what it took to do it, and so yeah, it worked out this time. So it was like it worked out good.
There's a part of me that kind of laughed because on paper it read as ALAN SANCHEZ versus half of the PGF. And so when I looked at it, I go, we have a lot of friends in this competition, and that includes you, I hope you know. But whenever I see that many names that we're that close to, I kind of take a back seat and say, I hope for the best. Good luck to all of you guys. We love you all. We'll see how it breaks out. But there was a little bit of no love that happened on the very first night of Jiu Jitsu Overdose. So I'd like to get your perspective, because to me, it seemed slightly left field that it came out of, but it looked like you were positioned in a pretty good seat to just view the festivities, have a night off, not really be involved. And then, wouldn't you know it, as the show's coming to a close, your name was uttered. So, if somebody didn't see what happened, do you mind filling them in on what did happen, and then give us your interpretation of what you thought in that moment?
Yeah, it was B Max stirring up the pot a little bit there. So it was Combat Jiu Jitsu Mexico. So Jiu Jitsu Overdose, they had 4 events: Combat Jiu Jitsu Mexico, Medusa, and then EBI Combat Jiu Jitsu Worlds over the weekend. So Combat Jiu Jitsu Mexico had 2 8-man brackets: 155, 170. The winners got to do the tournament in the weekend. So the guy that won the 170 bracket got to qualify for EBI. And so when he won, BMAC went to go like interview him, and I wasn't expecting this at all, but he just was like, "Hey, we actually have I think I saw him here, the returning champ from EBI. Do you have a message for him?" And then the dude, Carlos something, he like started basically just talking shit, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fucking make this guy cry on the mat, and like I don't know who he is, but I'm gonna fucking smack him and shit like that." Because the combat jiu-jitsu Mexico is combat, and EBI is not. So I was a little bit like, "Damn, this dude about to hit me." Like, all right, but yeah, so that happened, and I just thought it was kind of funny. And then I guess like behind the scenes too that people don't really see. I went to afterwards. I was like staying at the same resort that the event was at, and then I went to go eat at this like Italian spot. Went there, had like a little dinner. Still couldn't wait. But right before we're gonna leave, Eddie Bravo and like like the people working the event like sit in a table like right next to us, and then he like tells me too that the way they were going to do the bracket was they were going to have whoever won that go against me anyways. And so I didn't know how the bracket was going to be, but I at least knew like my first match was going to be that guy. And so yeah, I was like, all right, bring it on, let's go.
Okay, so this is where I should probably bring in my perspective, because there's a little bit of me that knows you, I wouldn't say like super well, but well enough where they did have the camera on you very briefly, but then they released one later that night, like a behind the scenes footage sort of a thing. And I think it was done by our folks. I think Isaac and his team put that together for our pre and post shows. And the look on your face was so funny to me, because I thought if somebody called me out like that, I would probably react the exact same way, which is, wait, what? Oh, I mean, bro, we're going to face each other this weekend. So sure. Okay, sounds good. But the second reaction I had was, and this is probably, very out of body for you. I was just like, dude, it's easier said than done, because I don't mind building it up for a hype, but I think there's a fun way to do it. And I was incredibly impressed by Carlos in his performance on that night. I thought, man, this guy looks great. And arguably, if he was in combat jiu-jitsu, probably could have done even better there. But I just knew that drawing you first round was going to be a rough night, one might say. So did it feel satisfactory to be able to put him away so quickly? Because you started the festivities off at EBI very quickly and made short work of somebody trying to put some words on your name, sir.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it felt pretty dope to go out there and just tap him in like 30 seconds. He was like talking shit in the back too, like in the warm up area. So yeah, it was like, it's kind of funny that it happened like that too. Cause one of the things when he was like talking shit in that little post fight interview is he was like, I don't even know who the fuck this guy is and yada yada. And one of the things I thought was kind of funny was that, like, they're playing the little the little thing of BMAC and TJ talking about competitors and whatnot. And they were actually kind of breaking down my game and talking about how I'm good at arm and guillotines, back attacks, and leg locks. And I'm like, all right, well, of all the competitors, I'm literally the only guy they're like talking about what I'm good at. And for some reason, this guy just like pulled guard and was like, guillotine me. And so it was pretty, yeah, it felt good to just wrap it up like easy peasy.
I was, and again, it was kind of happy for you, because I thought, well, it's cool that worked out very quickly for you. So nonetheless, a very, very funny 1-2 punch from looking like this night one, what? To looking like this night two, where I go, listen, dude, maybe this is a good lesson in let's not speak ill of my man, ALAN SANCHEZ, and his grappling ability. So just say, because you know what the weird part is? He could have picked about 5 other people that he could have easily have mentioned who might have been receptive and gone back and done what they do very well in that bracket. But I'm like, between somebody like a you or a Chris Wojcik, I'd be like, I think you're gonna get no response, dude. Like, these guys are far too committed to their process. You're not even on their radar by doing that. And again, I should add, incredibly impressed by what he did on night one. So I just thought, all right, that's what we're seeing here. I should ask this though. When we're talking about the full Jiu Jitsu Overdose experience, you know, I feel like the first time I heard Jiu Jitsu Overdose, I thought, that's a lot of shows. That's a lot of stuff to do. And normally, if you're competing, I don't know if you like a lot of external stuff going on. For me, personally, when I compete, I like one thing, in, out, boom, go. What did it feel like when they pitched you? Not only was there going to be a Jiu-Jitsu Overdose, but one of the things that you're competing on is involved in that entire week.
I mean, I was stoked, dude. Like, they had that such a long break where they didn't even have EBIs. So I feel like if you just hear that they're going to have an EBI and it's your weight class, I mean, if you're submission only grappler, that should only get you excited. So when I knew that there was going to be a Jiu-Jitsu Overdose, like at first, I think Eddie was like talking about how they were both the shows, EBI and Combat Jiu-Jitsu, were both going to be 155s. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm, not going to do it. And then he ends up messaging me like, hey, we're thinking of doing the EBI 170. It's the same weekend as Nogi Worlds. So like, are you willing to do EBI? Like, are you down? And then I was like, absolutely. Like, say less, Eddie. I'm in. So when I heard it was 170, I was ready to go.
Nice. Yeah, and I mean, I wondered if that was kind of the original plan, because once I saw how people couldn't necessarily be plugged in because of the different weight classes, there was a part of me that wanted to rearrange a couple of the guys from Combat and EBI. And fully honest here, I actually thought EBI was the stronger bracket. So part of me wanted to see it happen on Sunday rather than Saturday as like the showcase day. But I guess it didn't matter for you, because once you won, you were like, wow, Sunday is going to be fun. All right, cool. I just get to relax. So was there anything that you got to do or from the experience that stood out that had nothing to do with the competition? Because to me, it looked like every day there was some kind of incredible experience or incredible little small thing that you probably don't get somewhere else. But do you take any memories away from that experience that perhaps weren't even competition based?
I mean, I absolutely, because I had a whole squad come through. So I had like 10, 11 people that from my area that came through to watch it, and we're all staying at the resort. So we had a great time, and the beach, I mean, obviously the beach is right there. So I was going and swimming in the beach like every day. And I'm from I'm from the Bay Area, and over here, like, you go to the ocean to look at it. Like, you don't go there to get into it unless you're like surfing, but I've never surfed. So out there, it was nice to just go inside of the water and just, I mean, that was really nice. And then one thing too was it was like a full moon, like while we were there too. So I just feel like the lighting, and it just was like, I don't know, it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. So, just being able to be in Cancun, I guess was really nice. And yeah, I mean, that night, after winning EBI, because it was hard to get reservations at like the restaurants there. We got a reservation for like a Brazilian steakhouse, and just, it was like all 12 of us sitting at one table, and they had heard that I won, so they were just like treating me really well. And so yeah, that was really nice.
Wow, sir. I didn't know they were giving you star treatment. Were you with the belt, or was that just something that was starting to get communicated around?
Well, actually, so again, since it was like super hard to get like reservations here, we were like, you know what, let's pull up there with the belt and let's see if they get the reservation for us. And it worked like a charm. But it was like the reservation was for like an hour later. So then I went back to my room, and I didn't bring the belt to like dinner. Like, I wasn't gonna walk around with the belt. I don't know. It's fun and whatnot, but I'm not. It's all good.
My son, listen, I don't know how to tell you how to live your life, but like, you did go through a lot to earn that. So I feel like at least for one night, especially in a foreign destination, quote unquote, you should be able to get away from the. You're just not like you're going to your local macaroni grill and bringing a championship belt there and trying to get extra service. Like this is you somewhere, a travel destination, and literally saying like, "Hey guys, this belt matters especially a lot tonight, and then tomorrow I can go back to being regular, just old Alan." That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it got us the reservation for like 12 people, so it did its job, you know.
I realize this too because a lot of people don't know this about my stuff is I don't like putting up posts about promotions, competition. It's just a part of the stuff that I like doing. And I understand that very well. So when you're talking about like, I don't really want to be seen with, like, I did it, I'm good, I know I did it, that's all that matters. I relate to that. Nonetheless, I live in LA and there's a lot of big timing that happens when you're not looking. So to me, for one day, I can allow myself to go, you know what? Oh, did this gold medal just happen? Where did this come from? Do you have a reservation open now? And you would be surprised that some of these restaurants are so shallow. They're like, actually, yes, that does work for us. And you go, all right, fine. So I'm just saying, I'm with you in spirit, but occasionally the version of me that is hungry and realizes I might become an asshole, I think takes precedent to protecting my friends. So there is that. So, okay, let's go match by match, kind of walk it down. You did walk us through your first match. So you did tell us also as well that they kind of sprung at you at a dinner that would be the matchup. When that happened, you then were able to get the finish very quickly in that first match. What were you feeling after kind of getting off to a good start on that day, which, like I said, was a pretty stacked bracket?
Yeah. Well, I definitely always have that I mean, if you watch the whole thing, like I feel like I don't react too crazy to winning until it's all over. So winning that first match it was nice. It was nice to get it done like nice and quick. And I was just ready for the next one, you know? So yeah, I knew the next one would be either Nathan Haddad or Nick Ronan. So I was just like, all right, we did the first one. So now just like, let me watch the second one and see who I'm going to get next. Yeah.
Okay. I guess my question that comes from this is, when you are watching that match, two of them are good for very different reasons. So like, even as you're watching them go to work, I'm sure there's a part of you as a fan that can appreciate, like, this is kind of cool to see this level of talent. And the other part of you is like, I mean, both of them create different stylistic problems. So I know you said you were watching them, but there's about 8 matches that happen essentially before it comes back to you, or 7, I should say.
Yeah.
How much are you watching those other 7 matches?
Well, I kind of just glance over, you know. It's I don't pay like crazy close attention. For sure, I would say I was paying more attention to the matches that were on my side, because the matches on the other side, like, you know, they still got like a whole gauntlet before it gets to the finals. And plus, like, I don't even know yet that I'm going to get there. So it's, you know, no reason to give them too much attention. So I'd say on my side of the bracket, I would kind of glance over a little bit, but I wasn't like glued to the screen, you know, just like watching every little thing. But it was just kind of making note of like, all right, you know, maybe they're catching this submission, or maybe they're like they're probably exhausted because they had to go to overtime, or whatever the reason is, you know.
Was there any prelim, those first matches, that stuck out to you? Because to me, if I remember correctly, there were a series of finishes right to begin that tournament.
Yeah. I guess in that first round, like honestly, I was just like selfishly, I was just mostly focused on like the exact next person. So that one stuck out to me, just that they went all 3 overtimes, and I was like, well, they're probably going to be pretty tired. And then I had like a 30-second match, you know? So Yeah, selfishly, I don't really like pay like too crazy attention because also too like I mean I'm a big fan of jujitsu. I love watching jujitsu. I'm pretty much any weekend there's like a big event. I'm watching it. So it's easy for me to like get hyped and just like kind of go through the emotions of it. So because of that, I like purposefully kind of don't pay too much attention and like just keep myself kind of in my own headspace when I still have matches in front of me.
Understood, understood. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure because, again, it's kind of weird. It's surreal because of the experience and how fast it all moves that I'm always wondering how much you absorb. Because it's one thing when you're on production. On production, it feels like all of this takes forever. Like on production night, it feels like it goes 12 hours. But that's on our side whenever we're doing stuff. On your side, I feel like it just like evaporates. Like it just happens so quickly. Like even when it's overtime for other athletes, it still flies by relatively quick. Just from what I have ascertained, especially if you tend to do well and finish people quickly. So let's go into your second match. You obviously mentioned there was going to be some fatigue for both of those competitors, but nonetheless, it was still a fun match in your second when you had Nathan. So talk to us
Yeah.
about that one, sir.
Yeah, well, I know Nathan's done. I think he did both PGFs this year, right? So he's like definitely got experience as far as just having like hella matches. So even though he had like an exhausting match, I knew I feel like cardio wise, I think he was fine, but I mean he beat Nick Rowan in EBI rules, and I know that's not easy. So I knew it'd be tough, but I'm pretty stoked on it. I mean, I was a little bit like, not gonna lie, a little bummed about not finishing in regulation, just because you only get paid for winning matches in regulation, you know. So that's money that slipped by. But when I looked back on it, it was actually pretty dope because I feel like all the things that I've been working on in training, I feel like I did in that match. You know, all the guard play I was doing, the smash passing that I was doing, the even the spots where like in that match that I feel like in the immediate aftermath, like I feel like people thought I was like almost going to get submitted like a couple times towards the end of it because he was attacking front headlocks and stuff. But I've actually like I mean I sweep people when they try to grab my head, so it wasn't really like I never really felt in danger, and so it was cool to like see that I was like in those like bad spots and able to keep my composure and pull off the things that I've been doing in training. So and then once it went overtime, I mean I did so much EBIOT for this camp. I mean, not like I wasn't doing like every single day because it's like super exhausting, but I did enough where I knew that when it got to OT, like no shot, it's mine. So that's why too. I feel like it's like damn, like I let it slip to overtime. But I mean, I got to do all the things I worked on, so I was pretty stoked on that.
I want to take a moment to stick on this. If somebody's attacking your head, they get swept.
Yeah.
Is this just a tall person thing? Because I have a pretty giant head, and I've been told it's a little bit of a
Me
golden
too.
goose. Yeah, you fill up the frame, but I am also shorter than you, and this fills up just as much space, if not more. You also have the curly hair, which is very, very. It's deceiving. This is just pure head. But Alan, when people are attacking you, is it that you over the years have developed the system? Like what specifically allows you to sweep people? Because I notice that sometimes I have one of three things I tend to do when people like front headlock or try to attack my head while we're standing. One, if I can fight the grip, sometimes I can reverse the position. Two, sometimes it's taking them down and trying to pass. Three, if it's in a really bad spot, sometimes I got to give them the position and reverse out of it depending on where I am and who I'm training with. You just opened up door number 4 for me that I'm like, I don't know that I'm taking people down or specifically sweeping them like that. How did you develop that? And when did you see that was kind of something that you liked doing?
Well, something I guess you got to understand is, I mean, I'm like the lineage I come from is from people that are like monsters at arm and guillotines, like I've rolled with Big Red so much and he's bigger than me and has like one of the nastiest arm and guillotines of all time. And so when you deal with that on a constant basis, and you've dealt with that thousands and thousands of times, like other people grab your head, it just doesn't seem that bad. Um, and then I personally am also like a big fan of attacking front headlock attacks. So I feel like understanding the offense of of it helps me on the defense side of it. And I have like, it's funny because I think people see me and they think of like me being good at arm and guillotines, but in the gym, it's so hard to finish them. At least like on my training partners that are like brown belts and black belts, because they see it all the time and they have really good answers for it. There's one guy specifically I'm thinking of, Ray, who's a black belt at San Mateo, but we call it the Ray roll because he's really good at like letting people grab his head, and he does exactly that. He ends up sweeping you. He ends up on top side control from it. So honestly, I'm just kind of like stealing what he's doing, and that's what's great about having really good training partners. So that's it. And I feel like I'm not in as big a danger. Of course, I still dot my I's, cross my T's, and whatnot. Like anybody can get put to sleep in a deep choke, but I feel super competent there, and I mean, I think it's part of like underhooking and half guard is people are going to touch your head sometimes, and so you got to know how to not freak out and make it actually like your own superpower with it too. Can be advantageous.
Speaking of which, you just reshared this story today, and it was this sweep from half that I was in love with because I found like a key element that you did that I usually get stuck on, because I can get to that position. I was born in 10th planet, so lockdown has been my friend more often than not. But sometimes, and I don't know if other people experience this, sometimes with a good person, you just kind of get stuck in lockdown with them. So you're not moving, they're not moving, and I go, this kind of sucks. So
Yeah.
I've always tried to get that kind of underhook and play that game and let go of the lockdown, and sometimes success and fail. But the specific way you were gripping and the way you moved your body helped me in that clip that I saw of yours that you put up today, that I said, oh no, I like the way that you approach that. So that was something that was really cool to see, especially doing that on that EBI stage. It proved very helpful for you that particular week.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's why like I think like immediately after that match, I was just like honestly a little bit like, damn, I didn't get the submission. But looking back on it later on was like, man, I'm like that. I've been doing that stuff in training. Um, like a month and a half ago, like I did Aiga, and I did that exact same, like more or less like a similar thing against Mateus Luna. So it's like it's cool to kind of translate those positions into the high stakes, bright lights situation.
I actually want to take a moment to ask you about Aiga, because I was there for the second day version of stuff. We didn't really get to talk a ton because I like to just let people do their thing. And
Yeah,
usually I let people figure out they want to talk to me, especially if they're
yeah,
competing. I'm like, I'm sure we could talk about a great many of things. I don't want to put you off your game. And some people are super comfortable, some people aren't. I don't choose that for them. What was that experience like? Because I definitely wanted to ask you about it, but what did you feel about that experience in getting to compete? And it was a very cool stage to do that on.
Aiga was sick, dude. It was team finishers. We were like this close to going to Kazakhstan. So man, and who knows? Maybe they need a team. Maybe they call us up. I don't know. Let's see. But that was it was really cool because that was actually the first time since I opened up my school, 10th Planet San Jose, that I was able to compete. Because obviously, you open up a school, you're going to be like really busy. It's kind of tough to find the time to like do it. And it seemed like the perfect thing to just kind of like warm up right before EBI, about 6 weeks before. So it'd be enough time to like do it, kind of decompress, and then kind of get back into the swing of things. And that event was honestly so memorable because of just like off the mats, like it was a team event, and so there was like I think like 6 of us that were not from the area, so we were all staying like in the same hotel. We were all just like anywhere we were going, we were all like hanging out with each other. So it was really dope to go compete and like get 2 like nice first round submissions on Aiga, and help the team out. And but it was, man, that competition too was just so fun because of I don't know, I feel like the just all of us hanging out off the mats and just, going to get food and going to get coffee and going to the beach and all that stuff was just yeah, super memorable for that.
I have to say, props to the entire finishers team. You guys were very fun to watch, and arguably, had you guys have pulled sources with the actual 10th planet full squad, it would have been, I think, a very different result. Obviously, those spots are hard to come by, so I do know that's where things get a little tricky, but it was a good weekend for 10th Planet. It was just very fun to see you guys all kind of spread out. And I did the math because I started being like, oh, this person's here. Oh, yeah, it's the same weight class. But nonetheless, you all got to show out. So give my props to that entire team. I was watching and I was very impressed.
And shout out to Sid the Kid because he won Nogi Worlds same day as I won EBI, and he was pumping me up because like at IGA too, he's like, I'm winning Worlds, it's gonna happen. So he's a youngster, but dude, he like helps pump us up.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I love the idea that now you're a vet. Like hearing you describe that, I mean, like these young kids coming in, I'm like, brother, you're not that old. But I get it. I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to your third match because I know that you mentioned that, and I do want to give props to Nathan. I knew what kind of match you would be in for with Nick, and I thought that would be dope too. I just thought, what a year for Nathan because he's come in on these like almost impossible missions at times. He's proven that he can be a spoiler. He can be an upsetter. He can be this underdog at times. And I actually thought it was going to be fun. And even though I know you wanted to get the submission, I was like, it still was a fun match. Like for us as spectators, because you guys have very interesting styles that whenever you're watching at home, you go, I don't know how this is going to play out. His normal thing is being lanky, but you're not lanky at all either. So it's kind of like, oh, well, how does this play out? So we were stoked to watch that one. But let's get to our third match. For you, what's going on in your mind because you're at the halfway point, and now we've seen some spoilers happen on that night.
Yeah. I mean, it was the semifinal was against Kevin. So honestly, I was kind of stoked for Kevin because he's 10P, and I feel like I've always, I mean, I don't know Kevin like super well, but I've talked to Sean like a bunch like over the years at different tournaments, and like Chase Hanna and Ryan Aiken. So I know that whole squad is I'm a big fan of those guys and friends with those guys. So I was stoked to see Kevin make it to the semis and have it be an all 10P semi. So, but obviously it's like he wants to win, I want to win. I got to pick myself. So that's just how that is. So, but it was I know Kevin's got like he's dangerous and he hasn't even been training for that long, which is kind of crazy that he's like at where he's at. But yeah, that was a fun match for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a testament to what you can do in 4 short years is what he's been training for essentially.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, he's really good, and I love his prospects and good kid. It's been super nice and responsive, and it's so funny because when I do these interviews, all of you have very different personalities, and when we did our interview was so chill that you almost forget the things he's broken on people. Like you have a moment where you're so disarmed by this like super nice kid who's like, you want to meet some lizards? And I'm like, yes, bring out your lizards, bring out your iguana, bring out all of your animals. And then as he's showing them to me on air, I go, wait, didn't you end someone's ACL? Like, what? Wait, no, hold on. I should be asking you questions about this. So I'm very happy for his success as well. And I actually think between EBI and PGF, I think he'll have more continued success if he continues to go down those roads. So just seeing the beginning of that. Let's get to your final because that final was one on paper that read pretty epically and pretty, in one way, not surprising. But perhaps in another way, kind of like a marquee match that would be a dream super fight in a number of different organizations. So talk to us about that final, sir.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the bracket, I mean, I feel like they put me number 1 seed, they put him number 2 seed, so that was kind of like I guess the final that was meant to be, even though obviously the event was crazy stacked. So yeah, mad respect to Chris. He's like 4th place ADCC, tapped Josh Hinger, so he's fucking right there with anybody in the world. So I was stoked to go out there and get that match. And he's a dangerous leg locker too. So, but I guess like stylistically, I'm like he just straight up pulled, obviously. So I had to pass, and I'm like a smash passer, so it's kind of hard to, I think, like get underneath and get to the legs in that, as far as that dynamic goes. So definitely had respect for his leg game. Someone that I was thinking about when, as far as like during the training for this event, knowing that, we could get to a leg entanglement and having to stay calm and work my way out. So that final, I mean, it was pretty epic. It felt like the kind of match that needed to be like 30 minutes in order to have a submission, like in regulation, just because he just was so tricky. And I feel like I was trying to pass, but he plays like that style of guard where like I can't even like get inside of the feet. I was trying, but it'd be tough. And I mean, he wasn't really trying to do like overhooks or underhooks or anything like that. He was just trying to like get underneath. So it's as far as, stylistically, it just, time ran out. So we went to overtime, and he's actually someone, like, I saw the PGF final, and he went against Ryan Aiken, and they went like triple overtime, and he actually had like really good escapes. Like he did a really good job of like turning his hips this way, and then, as you're following, bam, he turns his hips that way. And so he was escaping on Ryan Aiken, who is, one of the best on the planet, maybe even like the best at EBIOT for all we know. And so I had respect for Chris in the EBI overtime realm, but I mean, we got there and like I was able to escape quick, which is nice, always nice. And then one thing too, story for that final, like they were playing this commercial for like the stem cells, and they were always playing this clip where it's like Andrew Tackett getting his hand raised against me at CJJ World's final. And so it's just like literally just like in my face, like, yo, you lost the final last year, just so you know, which I felt like just really helped keep my feet on the ground and, get after it. And yeah, so it was nice to be able to get that submission in overtime and send it home, and like I said, I had like 10-11 people there too, so it was a special night.
I'm gonna have to talk to Manny. I'm gonna see that programming. I'm gonna have to ask him questions and be like, "Excuse me, sir, this feels disrespectful to our champ. I don't want that before the final. You get that out of here."
It was perfect. I loved it.
No,
I loved it. That was like the best thing they could have shown me, honestly.
Wow. It's very funny that we have averse reactions to that, because my reaction, I know I'm more of a programmer than a competitor, because I would be so mad being like, who did this to me? Like, I would be like, show me the person who programmed this right before we're about to go. And then I would chastise them and then go compete. But you definitely added fuel to the fire. You mentioned that you had a lot of people there. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I thought one of them was your girlfriend?
My fiance.
Your fiance. My apologies, sir. I had to make sure. You know what you have to do, just so you know, as a host? You have to start with one, because it's rude to say your missus if she's not. It's rude to say fiance if you haven't. So your fiance, my apologies. What did it feel like to have her there, sir?
It was awesome. She's like, I mean, I've been with her longer than I've been doing jiu-jitsu. So she's, she knows me super well. She knows, like, she doesn't need to, like, she knows what I need on that day. And, she just comes over. She says like little things that, I feel like help. And, like clearly, I mean, like, it's a selfish day when you're competing. Like that's all. Like you just have to focus on yourself, basically. Um, so I can't like overthink it, but yeah, it's definitely better having her there than not having her there. 100%.
That one photo, and I don't know who caught that, but of the two of you
Omar.
after, I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get that like framed nice and big and put that in the house for sure.
I mean, brother, do you have any more room? Let's look behind you here. There is an extensive amount of frames there, and I love the artwork, but
Just one wall though, I have more walls.
dude, that's fair. I only see one wall. You are correct on that. I'm just concerned that if you have that many up, I'm like, I think space might be limited. But I also know you, as an appreciator of art, when you see something that's kind of cool, I think it's actually dope. Like, I love that. I'm looking to do more on my side, but I'm very picky about what I want. So I actually try to have
Yeah.
people commission works for me, and that does take a minute. So there's a movie called Heat with De Niro and Pacino, and the next piece that I want on this wall, to accompany, of course, this pro wrestling legendary moment, is the film Heat's moment with De Niro and Pacino at the diner, because it's one of my all-time favorite movies. And if you ever see them, they're not in the same shot together. They literally cut to create tension in the scene so that you never see them together. And you wonder, this is the first time meeting these two legends in movies on the same screen, and they don't even appear together in the same scene like that. And so I've always loved that movie. And somebody was like, months ago, they said, hey, man, I'm going to make that for you. And I go, would you? And they're like, yeah. And I go, okay. I'm like, well, how much is it? And they're like, well, let's talk about it once it's done. Suffice to say, it is a bare wall. So me staring at your wall right now is a little bit of like, damn, dude, I'm a little jealous. I need to up my game over here.
Yeah.
So I guess the main question is, I asked you what it was like to visualize it happening a second time, and you kind of gave me an answer about that, but I'd like to know what it felt to do it again. Like for you, when it's all said and done and you have this great moment, you get to share it with these 11 people that came with you, your girl, your squad, your team, Eddie, this whole family of people. What did it feel like to have this moment again?
Special. It felt special. It felt, there's always that like relief too, just because, you gotta train your ass off to do something like that. Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, I think something too is for me is important to make sure that I just like keep it going, because one of the things that I've forgiven myself, but I definitely like beat myself up about it a little bit, was that last EBI. I feel like it opened up a lot of good opportunities for me. And so I got to go compete like on all these like really big, cool stages. But I feel like I lost at all of them, and I don't necessarily have like the biggest following. So I feel like for me to like keep coming back, I guess I have to win, because I went, got a shot, didn't go my way, and then these shows just like fucking never asked me to come back. And so I feel like it's good to win, and hopefully I can get some of those doors opened up again. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm a believer that whatever's meant to be will happen anyway. So yeah, I'm hoping this opens up those doors again, and I don't plan on missing this time.
As they should. And I mean, you made a great call out when you said that you wanted to be back on another platform. You wanted to be on the UFC Fight Pass Invitational. And I think you would be a good style for that competition. I mean, you have to be on their radar, given the fact that you've won this twice. You've always had great matches, and you've gone up against some really top tier talent. And the people that you had to beat to win those championships are no slouches themselves. So I feel like you're right in that alley and right in that conversation. What do you feel like for you matches up well for you to be on the UFC Fight Pass Invitational?
I mean, it seems like they're trying to elevate the sport of grappling and get, high level grapplers. And I mean, I think I fit the bill. I've been training 10 years now, and that's 10 years where, I mean, like, where I guess for the last few years I've been at a high level, but even in the beginning, I was like delusional enough to like feel that I was going to make it. So it's been 10 years of just training nonstop. And I've dedicated myself to this art. And so if they want to grow that art, I would love a chance, and, man, I work my ass off for the sport. I don't take life too seriously, but I take jujitsu serious. So I think I fit the bill. I think, and I feel like I think I'm exciting. I think I bring it. I think I'm always looking for the submission. I know how to win. I know the tactics of things. Like I know sweeps and passing and not getting swept and not getting passed and all that stuff too. But I feel like when you see me, you can expect someone that's getting after it, trying to win every second of that match.
I would concur. And listen, dude, some of the people that you beat or have had great matches with have gotten prominent spots on other cards. So just saying, it does make sense that you would be in that conversation. And I hope they would. If not, maybe you don't want to show up with two belts, but I'm happy being in the background holding up your belts for you and being your hype man, because it's one thing to say, dude, I look at this man. You know what, dude? Talk your shit. You should 100% have that on at all times. Good Lord.
Just walk around like this. Oh, it's kind of heavy. Oh no, I'm good.
Listen, bro, you did the work. You should be
Looks
able to
good,
pay
huh?
off with this. If I was you, I would be walking into the gym like that. So I don't know what you're saying here. I'm not that different. One of my belts is right there from winning the PGF Fantasy, which Kevin Sherrill hates. But listen, guys, we're just all champions here on this show. That's what it is. I guess what I should say is this. I also want to give credit real quick before I switch to the other topic, which is I want to give credit to both you and Chris Wojcik, because you guys both held it down for the Glasses crew. So that means
That's true.
we can't
I was thinking about that.
We can't necessarily see very far or very close, depending on our particular hindrance. But you guys represented very well for people who wear the glasses and do the jiu-jitsu. So hats off to you guys.
We are honored. I was thinking that too. I was like, let's go. The two guys that need glasses are the ones that make it to the finals.
the two people who start off a match like, wait, is that you? I think that's you. I think that's it. So since we've last chat, you have also become this gym owner that you've had to take away time from competing, I'm sure, to really get this up and going and really feel like it's part of its own. What has it been like to be a gym owner now? Like, what does it feel like to have a place that's your own, that you're looking after, and you're building this new community?
It's been unreal, honestly, just because I mean, I got like a powerful team. I feel like already, I've been open 6.5, 7 months, something like that. And yeah, it's just, man, it's really nice. Every time I think about it, I'm just so grateful for it, because I feel like I'm lucky enough too that it's like I kind of hit the ground running with it, where I'm not like super stressed about like having to get new members like every day or whatever. Like we have like a really good core group, and we obviously part of the being a business owner is I gotta get new people in and all that, but the people that we have, man, it's a really good community. Everybody takes care of each other. We're able to roll hard but not like roll dangerously, and everyone's picking things up really nicely, and so it's been really nice to just yeah. And plus too, like something that's great about it is like my life is teaching jujitsu, or like, just jujitsu all around. I can make a living. I can, pay for my apartment. I can do all that stuff and just only focus on jujitsu.
I mean, kudos for that. Obviously, toward the end of the year, it's usually with promotions and, respecting or reflecting. for you, what did you reflect upon this year for like the entire year for your school? Because it's one thing that I noticed from gym to gym is a little bit different, but for you guys in particular, what did you notice or what did you say to your students as like your encapsulation of 2024?
I would, I guess just I always end class by just saying train hard, stay consistent. Um, and I think that's just kind of a way of life where just stay consistent, stay persistent, keep getting after it. And so, yeah, just being grateful for every day on the mats, off the mats, and yeah, just such a great team. So I guess we're just going to keep on rolling, like we're super young. So we just started. So it hasn't even been like a full year yet. So it's been like just half of one. So, really happy with everyone's progress for sure. And we got some people too that are already like competing, like, whatever, purple belt, blue belt kind of level. And a lot of them did Nogi Worlds. And I know a lot of them too, like didn't get like the results that they wanted, maybe they went 1-1, maybe they went 0-1. And so I hope that they just understand that like adversity is just part of what makes the story fun, part of what makes it interesting. And yeah, just be focused on training day to day, every day, and just focus on getting better. And everything else kind of takes care of itself.
A good perspective to tell your students. And I mean, you're definitely an embodiment of staying the course and good things will happen. So when you say those tenets are the part of your gym, they work, obviously, if you come home with 2 belts amongst your other achievements that you've had here. I wish you good success with that, but I don't know that this is beef, Alan. So I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Because like I'm not calling you out at the end of a thing. Like it's not the end of the interview. I'm calling you out, not BMAC, not stirring the pot here. I just have questions. Okay. I guess I should say. I'm going to put something here on the camera for you to look at. Okay. Now, when you see this footage, I need you to walk me through why you're doing what you do. And this will make more sense when I air my grievances as to what I'm trying to figure out you're doing here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to switch to this. And I just want you to explain yourself. Alan, what are you doing here? And why are you going in on my territory? Because when I saw you put up this, all I could think to myself was, excuse me, sir, this is my line of work. What is Alan Sanchez doing here and hitting a Boston Crab, which needs a little bit of work, if we're being honest here. So, Alan, explain yourself, sir. Why exactly are you getting into my world of WWE BJJ, sir?
I mean, I just think that's an efficient way to escape close guard. So, I was just trying to help people out with their technique and give them options.
Can I tell you my favorite part of this whole video, without fail, is the look that you make right here, which is the second you make that face, it told me, I was like, why does it look like it pains you more than the person you're going to do it to? Is the funniest part of that whole video. It's so funny is that I have these things whenever I know I'm going to interview guys next. They're like saved in a folder. And I go, all right, next time I talk to the kid, I'm going to talk to him about this. That one I had bookmarked since I want to say like March, April, somewhere in there. And I looked at it and I go, oh my God, that's really funny. And I love the fact that the other two are super efficient, super technical, super good. And you're like, nah, it's the last one. And I was like, oh, well, let's see what Alan, this is my bit. You can't be doing my bit, dude. So
that actually the person I'm doing that on too, that's Ray. That's the person that has like, he's like impossible to guillotine, and who we named the Ray role after.
Well, I mean, notable for many reasons now. An effectively good seller, I should say. So he definitely made that clip very, very well done. Well, sir, I want to start wrapping this up. So I'd love to put the camera on you and give you an opportunity to say thank you to your team or give shout outs to anybody who helped you prep for this recent big win. So camera's all on you, sir. Go ahead and do what you need to do, or give shout outs to, of course, your sponsors.
Yeah. I mean, for this big win, I mean, it was a ton of people. I mean, I got my students. You know, I train at 10th Planet San Jose. You know, that's where I'm there day to day. And then in the San Jose community too, like we got one of the goats in jiu-jitsu. We got Kayotera, and they have a comp training there. And so I'm super fortunate that they let me go train there, and I can go get rounds with high-level black belts as well on a consistent basis. So thank you to all them. I also go to 10 Planet San Mateo, you know, like a couple times a week, and that's where they would always Shark Tank me with EBIOT. And so, you know, I feel bad sometimes asking people like, you know, let me start on your back. Let me, you know, people don't always want to do it, but they were, Big Red was like, no, we're doing this. And they were all more than happy to do it. So, man, really appreciate those guys. And also too, I mean, I got knee surgery like a year ago. And so, Alex Nichols with Art of, you know, his business is Art of Strong. He's out here. Man, he helped me a lot to just get into like a good form where my knee's not just as good as it was before, but it's like way better. You know, I'm like way healthier than I've ever been body wise, and jiu-jitsu beats you up. So grateful for him. And I've been training at Victory Strength Training out here in San Jose. They've been really nice with a good, consistent strength conditioning program that fits grapplers. So thank you to them. And sponsor-wise, I got Perry Athletics. You know, George up here, he's the man, George and Sam. So thank you guys for always supporting, and always have the freshest gear on the market. So they're fire. And yeah, I guess that's it, right? So if I missed you, sorry. If I love you, you know I love you.
You know what? That's the best way to do it. That's definitely not gaslighting somebody right now. And just be like, if I love you, you know it. Okay.
They know.
You know it deep on the inside. Shout out Perry Athletics. They've been keeping you looking very nice with the rash guards. Like the stuff they put out. When I see the drip that you've got, I'm always like, damn, dude, they know what to do with you guys. So well done on that. Alan, I gotta tell you, man, I mean it in the sincerest of forms. When I saw it was a stack bracket, we have a lot of friends there, and this is not disrespectful to any of our friends. I was not surprised that you won, but I knew it was not easy, and I knew it was going to be a journey unto itself. And you went out there, as always, showing some awesome grit, some awesome techniques. And, you know, even when you don't get the finish, there's still a whole bunch of stuff to break down that I find very entertaining and fascinating. And seeing where you're at on your journey right now, I think you are more than deserving of being on a UFC Fight Pass or any of these other big platforms. So keep on the process. Keep doing what you do, man. A lot of us see what you're doing. And as my buddy Cash put on one of your posts, he was like, dude, y'all are sleeping on Alan. I was like, I think that's facts. Cash is a big talker, but I feel like that is probably one of the smartest things he said. So people should not be sleeping on you, sir.
Let them.
Nah.
Let them. If they don't know, they'll find out.
Even better. This is the dude who's calling for the commercial with him getting not the hand raised now. He's like, no. Put that on. Put on the greatest hits of me not doing well and watch what I do next. So I appreciate that. Alan, I'm going to talk to you off air in a second, but my thanks to you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Raf.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you guys. I hope you liked that interview. Alan's good people. Let's do this. If you like the show, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, I asked you if you would be so kind to give us a comment, but I did tell you I'd give you a comment to talk about. So in the comment section, if you don't know what to put down, like go Alan or congratulations or you're great, tell me something that you have once visualized and been able to pull off. Alan famously was able to write down he was going to become an EBI champion. He made it happen not once, twice, which a pretty impossible thing to do, yet he made it come true. So in the comment section, tell us something that you have done that is similar to that for visualization, because visualization is key to success. Let's also have you guys reminded that, yes, you can go to patreon.com/grappling hour, support the show. It really does mean a lot to us. For $5 a month, you see the interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you can see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including tape studies, match breakdowns with athletes, special episodes like Match of the Year that we just conducted with Alan, where he tells you about his favorite match of the year, and, of course, Roast Rap, a segment where people roast my competition footage. So you can go check those out. And of course, find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and be sure to do us a solid and go check us out on our Discord if you want to continue the conversations that we have here. And one last thing, like I said, buy some merch. Get some love for us here at the show. You can find a Grappling Hour hoodie or a t-shirt at rafaesparza.com/grappling hour. And those proceeds go to making this show awesome. They go right back into the production, and it really does mean a lot to us here. So, guys, I think that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.